Well, sunshine, what we got going on for you today is I think we're about to the end of the road on this 026 build. So we know we've been running with a scored cylinder for a good long time. Not bad scored, because we're still hitting 4.78 horsepower at at the last configuration. So we're not terrible, but it is scored. Running about 160 some pounds of compression on it. So it's time, and I've had a new cylinder sitting here the whole time for a good long time, and I'd already cut the squish band on it just a little bit. I didn't like the squish band. I wanted it to be the same as the other one. They were different brands. The new one had 100,000 squish band, and I wanted about 180 in it to match the other one. I liked it. I was trying to do apples and apples, so I made that the same. Didn't change the chamber much. We did that. We cut the base same way on both cylinders. Now, I can't lie to you guys. I'm windier than a bushel basket full of farts. We know that. I took a bunch of pictures of the port work, but I was sitting here in the zone when I was doing it and sipping on my Folgers and listening to Patsy Cline and Jim Reeves and Johnny Horton and who what's, and I just done it. So this is actually the new cylinder. And I've got some pictures here I want to show you. And I'm going to use this in here. I'm going to act for you, and I ain't no actor. I ain't no liar, but I didn't shoot it, and I'm trying to salvage what we done. And then I'm going to show you guys in this same video. Anybody that doesn't know, it works on these old 0 series. A little harder to put the carburetor on, air filter on, the mufflers. I was watching another guy that I really like, and I haven't been watching him for a while because he is building an 026. I didn't want to get accused of cheating off of him. He's way better than me, makes better videos and all that. But I did notice there seems to be a little bit of a struggle on getting these carburetors on, and this operator presence lever and this plastic and even the muffler. And so at the end of this video, I just threw all that in, how I do it right quick, fast, and in a hurry, and it works out good. So guys, jump around in here if you want. This ain't gonna be the greatest video, but I got some real good pictures of the port work. So what we did, of course, we cut the squish band up in here. I don't think there's a good video of that. And then set it on the saw. I put the squish band where I wanted it, then I set it on the saw, and I measured my squish and my timing. And my timing was terrible, of course. Even though I had to move the cylinder, timing was pretty terrible. No, actually, timing wasn't bad. Timing was 99. Actually, timing wasn't that bad on the new cylinder. Had 55,000 squish. Part of that was my fault. 99 exhaust, 68 on the intakes for a 136, and 129 on transfers. So it wasn't terrible. Give me something to work with. That's quite a bit of blowdown, isn't it? 30 degrees of blowdown. We hadn't been running that on this cylinder, and I'm going to point at the wrong one now because I already had it in my mind I was going to lie to you, and then I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So we didn't have near that much blowdown on this one here. So we went to the new cylinder and basically duplicated everything that's inside of this one right here. We went to the old cylinder. I'll just start off. The old cylinder was offset 60 thousandths right here on these bolt holes. And any of this stuff's in a playlist, 026 build. If you want to go back and get any single one thing I've done, porting, lower transfers, we've tried them like 3 different ways. But anyhow, this cylinder was offset 60 thousandths, so is this one. Exhaust, and I ain't that good. I'm lucky sometimes. They both landed at 99.5, so they're the same. Now, I'd always suspected we needed a little bit more timing in this cylinder right here, the new one, because my old one was setting at 137. We're at 145 now. We put in 8 degrees of intake timing. 123 on the transfers on this one. And the transfer work on this is more than just numbers. We know that, right? It's shape and stuff like that. but we're at 124 on the new one. So we did change transfers by 1 degree longer blowdown. And at the last run, we were still running that modified carb with 550 thousandths bore. We're running a bark box clone on it. We're running an MS260 filter. It breathes a little bit better than the 026 filter. We'd cut the chamber on both of these. Now I cut the chamber a little bit on this one here too, or this one. I'm so confused. Both cylinders have had chamber cut on them, and about the same. Now I did reshape the combustion chamber on this one just a little bit, and I didn't video that. I think that'll be another saw in another video, because this is another one of the things I was trying and I wasn't running the camera. It worked well and I did it by hand. We reshaped the piston. The piston was already reshaped. I didn't do anything to the piston other than put a new set of rings on it. And it's got a custom decomp in it. Running a valve jet and a carburetor, genuine Marlboro valve jet and an aftermarket carburetor. That's another video. And we had to relieve the case to run this offset cylinder. So that's where we're at. And it's probably had a tank and a half through this new cylinder. And believe it or not, I haven't put it on dyno yet. I've been busy. But I just checked the compression. I wanted to know. We're up to 175 pounds now, and Wiz at about 165. So or 155, 160, I can't remember. So we've gained about another 10 pounds of compression. So we're happy about that. The intake, we didn't do much to that either. We shaped this intake here to where that boot was running into a lip. The hole in this cylinder was smaller than the boot hole. So the air run in that boot and hit a wall. No good. On this cylinder we've been running before, I had also widened that intake. I did not do that on this new cylinder. So that could help us or hurt us. And also went to 145 degrees. Which allowed me to shape this lower floor of this intake to promote air to go down in the lower part of the chamber a little bit better versus hitting the back side. We did not even touch for shape or anything. Now, it might have got gommed up a little bit, but we dimpled that. We golf balled the top of that, where that air goes in there and hits the top of that intake and puts it down. Now, the lower intakes are pretty wide. They're about as wide as what the piston will allow. Any wider than that, and you're getting out into your piston skirt. So they're widened just about to where the piston skirt starts on both sides. And I reshaped them a lot in there just to promote flow. I got the shape I wanted, the shape I think I wanted, and I think it's, we gained a lot on this cylinder by doing it, so I transferred it to this cylinder. The upper transfers are pitched up a little bit. They're a little bit bigger than they were, and they're a little bit longer on the circumference than they were because I pitched them forward a little bit. Maybe too much, maybe not. And then we bolted it on there with a new set of rings. And it may be a spoiler alert. I don't remember where it's at. I'm a few videos behind on editing. Put it in there with a new set of rings. Went out and sawed. Worked up a whole treetop with it. About 2 tanks of gas. Big old oak treetop. About 2 tanks of gas to it. Come back in here and checked it. We still only had 125 pounds compression. So I said, man, something's bad. I've messed up something. I've scored something or something. Broke a ring. I don't know. Well, I got in there and the rings for it ain't for this bore, I'll tell you that. So we put a brand new set of rings in it, and I've got a little bit of runtime on it. I've sawed up some slabs in my slab pile, and it's not going to get dynoed on this video, guys. I'm going to saw with it a little bit and dyno it. And I got some mods coming up that are going to be short and quick, and they may both make the same video. I ain't even started on them yet, so I can't speculate. I hope you enjoyed the pictures. I'll try to get I hope this video came together good. Up to this point, I'm going to show you how to put this handle and stuff on there. You guys, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you coming along for the ride. Thank you. Now, I know there's about 1,000 ways to take the pelt off the putty, but I'm going to show you how I put a carburetor together on the 026 and how I put the carburetor and throttle linkage and all that back on there. I'm going to stop just a second. I could have put that on there before, but I want to let you know there's a way to put this thing together backwards. That's just as easy as turning it over. If you'll look, it's relieved a little bit on one side for just the shoulder of that stud that keeps it from going all the way through. At least mine, my aluminum ring's only relieved on one side. If you turn it around, put it on backwards, it won't shove back in there as far as it can. There's not enough rubber sticking out. It won't make a good seal. Now, this linkage has to go on the carburetor. And of course, it's got to go in this throttle lever, right? And it goes in from my right side, pointing left. So that's the easiest way to orient this, right? Now, you can put this linkage on there after you put the carburetor on. But to me, the easiest thing to do is just rock that open, snap that in there. It's pretty well in there. I ain't saying you can't get it out, but that's what I do. Like I say, I use Torx. If I didn't say it a minute ago, I use little Torx bits. Work real good for fuel line stops. Give you a little handle to get a hold of. Shove that, mash that back in there. And no pressure on there, no fuel in there to speak of. Get my fat cabbage collectors poked in there and get this fuel line back. And make sure that's shoved on there moderately well, and we'll put a couple nuts on there to hold it. Now this here carburetor's been modded. I assume that video's probably out by now, but if it ain't, it'll be coming. And I think I've found out how to make these Chinesium carburetors work. At least in this case. Love these little ratchets. Got a hex on one end, 1/4 inch drive on the other. Your bits like, and I'm not gonna worry about getting one out. Well, it'll fit your bits like that. So if you're running a T27 or something in on a Stihl with electric machine, which I use a lot. I usually break them loose and tighten them up with a ratchet and then just zip them in and out with, finish them off with that. All right, so we got the carburetors are on there. Now what we got to do is put our handle on there. Now the newer Stihls, that if you run that to full throttle, you don't have to take this handle off. If you run that to full throttle, that'll pop up out of there. When it's anything less than the full throttle, it's captured. But seen a guy the other day, like him, not complaining. But he was putting that in there, and it seemed like hell every time. It just, that won't stay in there. You poke it in there, turn loose of it, and it pops out, right? Well, there's a lot easier, in my opinion, there's a lot easier fix for that. And I'm looking for a tool, rearranged a little bit yesterday. I get my dadgum, I get one of these little screw starters ready. And they're kind of a neat little operation. They're spring loaded. It's got a little spring loaded deal in there. You poke that in a straight headed screw and it'll hold that. So I just get that ready. Then I put my operator's presence lever in there, I think it's called. And he done a real good job of showing you all this, guys. If you'll probably know who I'm talking about. I'm not trying to double down on what he's done. Matter of fact, I hadn't watched most of his video on this series because I didn't want to be accused of copying him. I've been working on this a lot longer than he has his, and I'm sure he'd make a better video than I did because I'm just a hack. But anyhow, so the operator presence lever's in there. I got the spring right, And where he was fighting is that kept coming out on him, right? I'm gonna use my other hand here. This kept, I'm that left-handed, but that kept coming out on him, right? Just go to wide open throttle. When you get that in there, you got that thing wide open throttle. Why, you can flick that around. Why, it ain't coming out. Turn it loose and it'll come out. Go to wide open throttle. That's all you got to do. Mash that down in there. And Bob's your uncle. And get a few screws, get a few turns started on that. Probably up out of frame for you guys. Sorry about that. But there she is. Just slicker than frozen snot on a gold tooth, buddy. That's how I do it. Very easy. Now, I'll double down one more. We'll mash these wires back in there. Yeah, they're all cobbled up. Everything I do is cobbled up. I'm not going to argue that. Now, he had a little bit of problem with fuel on. Spoiler alert. And I have too. I have too. That's why my little hack here, I take my screwdriver and I shove it in under here, poke that in there, let that down out of the way. Now I just put my air filter on there. That's what I do. Instead of trimming it short, I just do it like that. That way I know it's held down below the edge of that carburetor, and this fuel filter can't pinch it now. And this fuel filter so much, or air filter, fuel filter. This air filter is so much easier to put on there now. Pull the screwdriver out, we're done. Now this is a MS260 air filter. I think it breathes a little better. The original tank vent won't work. I had to modify one of them up, and you got to put an MS260 back cover on there. I've still got the original stuff for it, but I just figure that in there breathes a little better. But anyhow, there's your little trick on that. That's how it works for me. For putting the muffler on there, I also found a little trick. I opened up the drawer, set that in there. Oh, crud, gonna knock her out the floor. Let's open the other drawer. Maybe that's the one I use. I opened up the drawer, set that in there, and that saw sitting straight up. I let that, Isaac Newton, he invented gravity there a while back, and I like using it. So I just put the screws, I know you can't see down in this deal, I put the screws in that, put my fingers around here and hold that gasket to keep it from falling out, and just lower that down in there until, and next thing you know, Bob's your uncle again. And then I can set her up here on the bench. Make sure my bolts down here is going to be lined up. Hold that up one way or another. Make sure we're going to be lined up on them bolt holes on that lid. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We still got the old bark box, homemade bark box style on there. Pretty good combination of quiet and pretty good combination of quiet and power both, and just simple to put on there. And on this saw that I'm taking apart and putting together a jillion times, well, I've liked it for that. What do you say I put a little gas fuel in it and see if she'll fire? Carburetor will probably be pretty wild right now, as I'm guessing, because I was chasing the tune yesterday. Well, I think that may be better. Oh, yeah. Them rings break in, we're gonna have something, ain't we?